Hey guys, welcome back. Tonight we're off to Britain, or at least what was Britain before England, Scotland and Wales existed. To be precise, we're going to spend a day in the life of an average Dark Age Brit between about 410 and 600 AD, just after the Romans left and just before William the Conqueror showed up. This was a time when literacy was rare, medicine non-existent, religion all-encompassing, and life nasty, brutish, and short. So, before we pull out the proverbial time machine, grab your tunic and shield and prepare for battle. It's me, and this is Dark Age Britain in 100 seconds. In order to understand what life was like in Dark Age Britain, we first have to understand that unlike modern Britain, which is made up of England, Scotland, and Wales, Dark Age Britain consisted of many different peoples and many different languages. There were the Britons, the English, the Scots, the Picts, the Irish, and many more. The one thing they all had in common, though, was that they were Celtic-speaking peoples, except for the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, who were Germanic-speaking invaders that would eventually become the English. We'll focus on the Britons today, but keep in mind that other peoples existed. The Anglo-Saxons would show up later in the century, but don't worry, they'll get their own spotlight episode too. Our story begins on a cold, rainy morning in what is now southwest England. The sun isn't quite up yet, and the mist hangs heavy over the valley. In the distance, you can hear a rooster crow, signaling the start of another day. Not that it makes much difference. Most people wake up with the sun anyway, since sleep is a luxury most people cannot afford. You live in a small village consisting of maybe 200 people in round houses made of wood and thatch. There are no roads here, just cowpaths, and there is no law enforcement, just a powerful chieftain whose word is law. He's also the local judge, jury, and executioner. Life is hard. Your neighbors routinely die of disease, and the occasional Viking or Saxon warrior looking for plunder. Literacy is unheard of. Most people can barely even write their name, if they have a name. Many go their whole lives without seeing a book. Those who can read usually learn to read religious texts from traveling preachers or monks. Poetry is the highest form of literature, and bards travel from town to town, singing songs of valor and heroism. The only record of everyday life is kept by monks who write down the deeds of local chieftains in elaborate manuscripts that will survive for centuries. If you're lucky enough to have a formal education, it'll probably come from a traveling teacher who goes from town to town. Even the basics like reading, writing, and arithmetic take years to master, but schooling is expensive and few can afford it. At 14, you're considered an adult and expected to work alongside your father in whatever trade he does. Common jobs include farming, blacksmithing, carpentry, and hunting. For women, jobs usually revolve around the home. They farm, raise livestock, gather fruit and vegetables, and make clothes. It's rare for them to work outside the home, but if they do, it's usually in a craft like weaving or pottery making. Slavery is unknown in Britain until the Saxons arrive. If someone needs help, the community will pitch in and help them out. It's called comititus, and it's a hallmark of Dark Age British culture. Everyone has to give their labor freely to the community or risk being ostracized. Religion is very important. Most people are Christian, but paganism still clings on in some places. The arrival of Christianity brought great changes to daily life. Monasteries became centers of learning, and monks copied ancient Roman texts, keeping them alive for the Dark Ages. Churches also provided the only large public buildings and the only structures visible for miles around. If you need to travel, expect to walk. Roads are few and far between and don't go anywhere. If you have to move large amounts of goods, hire pack animals like donkeys, horses, or oxen, Wagons are rare because good roads are so rare. Bridges are almost non-existent, so river crossings are treacherous and often impossible during the winter months. Boats are the best way to travel long distances, but you need to live near a navigable river or the coast to use them. Seafaring is unknown in native British boats. No bigger than 30 feet, everyone travels by foot. If you want to see the king, you gotta go to London. Unless you happen to be in London, then you just stay put because the king's coming to you. Kings didn't have palaces. They lived in whatever large house they could find and basically acted as chieftains, presiding over councils, leading armies and collecting tribute. They had no real power and rarely left their home base. Trade is minimal and consists mostly of bartering. Money doesn't exist, but local chieftains might issue silver coins to fund their armies or buy their loyalty. Local craftsmen produce most of the goods needed by the community. Iron tools and weapons are highly prized, as are fancy cloaks and jewelry made of imported Roman glass. The Dark Ages are well dark. Expect dusk to fall around 8 p.m. and for it to be pitch black after 9. Candles and oil lamps provide some light, but most people spend their evenings telling stories around a fire or sleeping. No electricity means no refrigeration. Food is preserved by salting, drying, or smoking. Meals consist of whatever is available, usually bread, cheese, fruit, and vegetables. Meat is a luxury and normally only eaten on special occasions. If you're poor, you're likely to eat porridge made of oats, barley, or wheat. The staple grain is wheat, followed by barley and then oats. Peas and beans are popular protein sources. Ale is a common drink, but wine is rare. Cider is popular in some regions. At night, you lock your door, but not because you're worried about intruders. Your roundhouse is made of wood and thatch and has a dirt floor. There's nothing to steal and no windows to break. The only time you lock your doors is to keep your goats inside. People in Dark Age Britain keep goats, cows, pigs, and chickens. Sometimes they even keep sheep, although wool production is unknown. Livestock not only provide food, but also serve as currency, payment for taxes, or used as gifts to curry favor with the king. If you have a goat, you lock it in at night to stop it eating your meager crops. You slept in the same room as your family, livestock, and any travelers who happened to stumble upon your village late at night. Keeping warm was essential. Sleeping next to a goat wasn't the worst option. They're surprisingly good at keeping warm, but expect lots of bleating and a couple of scratches during the night. In the morning, after everyone has shambled off to their various tasks, the local priest might hold mass in the biggest building in town, the local church. If you have a son, he might be old enough to join the local militia, but don't get too excited. The army consists of lightly armed militiamen who fight alongside their lord. Full-time professional soldiers are unheard of. Warfare is brutal and usually involves stabbing someone in the face with a sword or spear until they die. Bows and arrows are popular, but armor is rare. Battles usually consist of two groups of warriors stabbing each other for a bit and then running away. Horseback riding is unknown. All warfare is done on foot. As the day wears on, the rain continues and the sun never quite breaks through. As a farmer, your job is simple: tend the fields and hope for the best. Farming is a dangerous profession. You might run into a snake, get bitten by an adder, or fall into a bog and drown. Add in a few wars with the Saxons and Picts, and it's not surprising that the average lifespan is only 25. By the time you're 50, you're considered ancient. Few people make it past 70, though medicine is non-existent. Cuts and scrapes are treated with herbs. Broken bones are set, but no attempt is made to hide the ugly scar that will remain for life. If you come down with a fever, expect to die. Doctors aren't trained in anything beyond leeching and lancing boils. If you're lucky, a monk might visit and lay hands on you. The only treatment for mental illness is banishment. Go live in the woods and try not to think about things. As the evening draws on, the sky clears and the stars shine brightly. Unlike modern times, nighttime temperatures drop dramatically, and surviving the night is a victory in itself. Maybe tomorrow will be better, but then again, maybe it won't. After all, you are living in Dark Age Britain, and that's Dark Age Britain in 100 seconds. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.